I would say there's a point where your parents' God has to become your God. There's a point
Mm.
where like you have to stop depending on your mother and father's prayers and you have to be the one that prays, right? Because
Mm-hmm.
you're getting older, right? You have your own experiences with God. And I definitely say I kind of stepped more into my own personal faith probably in high school.
In high school.
Yeah.
Tell me about that, right? I love religions, right? For what they are, and I believe that they're personal vehicles.
Sure.
You get to choose which vehicle you want to in order to connect to whatever you believe, the God, the universe, whatever it is,
Yeah.
right? So I don't disparage that. But what you mentioned, like right now, and at an early age, is something that is very um it's specific to you,
Right.
the words that you're using. It's not the experience of your parents.
Mhm.
It's not the experience of your community anymore.
Mhm.
This is something that you internally grew to understand and realize.
Yes.
Can you take me through that journey? Because that is something that is, as a young person, is so hard
Mhm.
to do that, because most of the times we rebelled against
Right.
our original
Right.
uh, upbringing.
Right.
But you came to accept it and hold on to it. Tell me about that journey, that internal journey, that spiritual aspect of it.
I'd say there's kind of two aspects. I think, growing up in church and, our church was maybe medium sized, for lack of a
Mhm,
better term. Um, Obviously, there were folks that were a little bit older than me, that did go through that rebellious of they didn't want to go to church, right? And
mhm,
they wanted to walk away from their faith, they wanted to go on their own little journeys. And that was not something that I wanted for my life.
mhm,
And then obviously, being in high school, there are all of these new added pressures, right? There's drugs, there's alcohol. And I've always, since I was little, been very careful with my friend group, right?
mm.
Like there's a saying in Spanish, dime con quien andas y te diré quién eres.
¿Quién eres?
Tell
Yeah,
me who you're hanging out with and I'll tell you the kind of person that you are,
that you
right?
are correct. Yep.
So I've always been like, very careful, like with friends. I'm friendly with a lot of people, but that I
Mhm,
consider friends. There's not a lot of people that I do consider friends.
mm, mm,
And I was very, very blessed. I made fantastic friends in middle school that we carried on into high school. And
mhm.
they were predominantly Caucasian and African American.
Okay.
But they just kind of welcomed me. Like I was only Hispanic in the group. People would always ask me, like, why do you always like wear skirts and dresses? And they're like, why are you wearing pants? Like, stop asking her questions. Like, she can wear whatever she wants. Um, you know, and I'm very grateful that, my immediate friend group, for the most part, they were like great kids.
Mhm,
They were never, involved in like the party scene or anything like
mhm,
that. To be honest, the party scene, for lack of a better term, never appealed to me. Like, I
mm,
never wanted to go clubbing.
mm,
I didn't, like my life was church. It was going to school. We
mhm,
had a great youth group. We had great youth pastors. My church is an assembly, so we would get together with other churches in the state. We host a week long camp in the summer that we still host.
mm.
Like that was my fun.
Yeah.
It was my, it's when I got to see, my other friends, that were also like pastors' kids and so on and so forth. I think to me, it was just I saw what the world had to offer, and I
Mhm,
wanted no part in it.
yeah. But where do you think that strength comes from, right? I mean,
Yeah.
as a person um, that is of faith,
Hmm.
right? And the world, the world is a wasteland, right?
Yes.
You have everything pushes you
Yes.
and takes you off your core, particularly during this time of our lives, right?
Right.
Where we try to get, what do you think gave you that strength to say, no, this is who I am, and have that conviction
Yeah.
to stay who you are?
That was 100% the prayers of my parents. A
Okay.
110%. I feel like they would just cover me in prayer anytime I would go to
Hmm.
school, and they were like, we hope we've taught her the right ways and kind of taught her, how to say
Hmm.
no to things. And it somehow, stuck.
Yeah,
But definitely, both of my parents have been wonderful examples. Um, you
of
know,
that.
I've never seen my parents drink a drop of alcohol in
Mm,
my entire life.
Oh wow.
So when since I didn't grow up with it, I wasn't exposed to it. So like
Hmm.
to me, it's not a necessity, right?
Hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Um,
Yeah.
but 100%, that was definitely the prayers of my parents.